I'm a father of 2 children. I'm a husband to 1 wife. I'm an employer to more than 85 people in our country. My business is furniture business. It's called Morara Home Furniture. I have other investments elsewhere, like car rental and other investments. And I am the pioneer of something called the Vampire Diaries, which goes around the country to check on stalled projects where money has been stolen and nothing was done. And that program has been able to impact people in a way that has never been seen before, and to wake up sleeping lions. And Kenyans are waking up to know that the poverty that they live in is manufactured and that it is not real, that our country is rich, there's plenty of resources, enough for everyone, and that if we just had good leadership, there will be no poverty, disease, or despair in the youth, women, and fathers of our country. And I'm here today to share moments with you. Is Kenya really that bad? Or is Morara only pointing the bad side of Kenya? I know many Kenyans ask themselves that question. I want to assure you it's bad. It's really bad. It's extremely bad. I'll paint it in picture and figures. Let's begin with figures. By the time Kibaki left, he left a debt of 1.89 trillion. A public debt. Deni ya Kenya. 1.89 trillion. Now you guys know Kibaki for a lot of things. You know him for roads. You know him for expressway. You know him for Vision 2030. You know him for Konza City. You know this guy for many things. By the time Kibaki came in, there were like 3 or 4 universities. By the time he left, you can see how many universities were there. He gave a charter literally to every region. So we know Kibaki for so many things. All that Kibaki did, and the wealth we made, or our parents made, 1.89 trillion. In comes Uhuru. And in 10 years, he borrows up to 8 trillion. He goes 8 times what Kibaki did, but with half of what Kibaki achieved. 80% of the money was stolen. And it cannot be gainsaid. The examples are so numerous, if you count them, you'll get tired. SGR, a budget of 400 billion. We paid it with our taxes, then still received money from Exim Bank of China, and it was stolen. Half of the money was stolen, 400 billion. More than 200 billion was stolen through fake land compensation for people on the land along the SGR. 600 billion was stolen. That is SGR. Let's come to Huduma number. Look at how much money was stolen through Huduma number. Until Maisha number 1 billion recently was stolen. Let's come to BBI. How much money was stolen through BBI? Forget BBI. Let's talk about COVID-19. Over 200 billion, a grant that we received to buy safety PPEs for health workers. Ndio at least wakikutreat wasipatwe na COVID. It went. Pesa nipo paka ya wagonjwa. Laptops project. How much money was stolen out of the laptops projects for school-going kids? Anything that you saw during Uhuru's time, if it happened and it was completed with a lot of theft. Uhuru and Ruto amended our constitution using a law, something that you can't do. It's illegal. But they did it because of that thing Mutai Nyungunyi used to call tyranny of numbers. Parliament has been the biggest failure because Parliament passed a law under the Public Finance Management Act that allowed Kenya to be able to open foreign accounts abroad and to pay suppliers directly without taking the money to the consolidated fund. Remember, we have a consolidated fund, which is one basket, where all our money goes in, our taxes, our borrowings, where our loans goes in. So pesa yote inaingia kwa hiyo kikapu moja. Then it is spent from there with the control of a person, an independent office called the Controller of Budget. Then it is audited by an independent office called the Auditor General. Here comes a law that says you can open an account abroad, borrow abroad, and spend abroad without even bringing it to Parliament to be allocated through a budget or through a supplementary budget. So what does Uhuru do? They borrow $2 billion in a bank in the US called JP Morgan Chase. They have no shame. They open an account in the name of Kenya Wealth Sovereign Fund, when they know in their hearts Kenya does not have a wealth sovereign fund. Hatunanga, haiko. But they created an account and called it Kenya Wealth Sovereign Fund. They deposited $2 billion in it. Gone. It was transferred to another bank account in Qatar. You know, $2 billion is more than 200 and maybe 60 billion Kenya shillings. Hiyo kitu nikiamua kujenga level 5 hospitals, najenga 2 kila county, zikiwa paka na MRI machine. Najenga cancer center bana, najenga kila constituency, 290 of them. I can build 290 cancer centers in every constituency. That's what that money can do. Nilete tu hiyo 260 billion. Na niseme, if you are 35 years and below and you don't have a job and you don't have a title deed or a logbook to borrow money from a bank, here is money. Borrow it, do a business and pay back. Now I've taken my people out of poverty. Hiyo ni wizi moja. Hiyo ndo impact ya wizi moja. That's Uhuru. On the last day when he is leaving, when he now knows Ruto will win, on the day of election, wakati wewe umepanga kwa line unapiga kura, Uhuru ako kwa treasury. His hand is in the cookie jar. He is stealing 12 billion. Ya mwisho. Yani the last nail on the coffin. Ile DJ Afro anasema picha mwisho. The guy is in our treasury. He steals 12 billion in the pretext that it is going to buy shares for Telkom, and that is going to buy shares for Africa Trade and Development Bank, and that it is going to buy shares for Africa Export-Import Bank. The money gets lost. Africa Trade and Development Bank wanaulizwa na Auditor General hiyo pesa iko wapi, shares ziko wapi? Wanasema hawajui and they have no response. Exim Bank wanauliza Africa Exim Bank, kuna shares za Kenya hapo zilinunuliwa na pesa yetu. Wanasema we have no comments, sisi hatujui kuna pesa tumepokea hapa. Telkom, Jamhuri Holdings, kukoaje huko? Msituingize kwa hiyo maneno. 12 billion. That's on the last day that this guy is leaving. Then you tell me that the young people of Kenya deserve to go to Qatar to be house helps. Why yet we are rich? We are not poor. We are a wealthy country. We can survive without a loan. Hiyo 12 billion, if I inject it into agriculture and tell the youth, I have identified, we have these 100,000 acres of land. The youths who are passionate about agriculture, kujeni. Kila mtu 100 acres. Okay? Nyanya, kitunguu, watermelon. Seeds, serikali ndio ita provide. Nyinyi chapa kazi. Chakula, local consumption, ikikuwa mingi, export. Hapa kando ninawajengea potato cooling plant ili 30% of the potatoes zisiharibike kwa kuoza ama kuharibika na rodents. I'm also going to create here a tomato processing farm ili zile tomatoes zenye mnataka kuprocess into toothpaste ziprocessiwe hapa karibu na shamba, so that you don't lose 30% of your tomatoes because of them getting rotten. And I'll bring dryers, because abroad they eat dried food. You can plant vegetables, it can be dried in the dryer and packaged and so sent to the US. These are the European Union standards, these are the what standards. Piga kazi. Unaniambia vijana watatoka hapo na pesa? I have a friend. That friend is called Senator Okiya Omtatah. He's my friend. He's the one man who is always willing, whenever I'm arrested, to go in the same car with me to make sure I'm safe. That friend always says something. He says, evil survives in concealment. Corruption survives in concealment. The best way to do evil and survive is by concealing it. Covering your tracks. How do you do it? Through tribalism. Wananionea juu mimi ni Mkikuyu. Wakati ule Mjaluo aliiba, mbona hawakumfuata? Wakati Wakale wanaiba, mbona hawakuwafuata? Wakati ule Mluya Wakikuyu wenzangu, mimi na waomba msimame na mimi. Semeni yay, semeni inject. Simama na mimi kwa sababu hakuna mtu ataonea kabila letu. The other thing is, keep the population distracted with nonsense. Make sure the media content that they consume is nothing about Vampire Diaries. By now, shouldn't Vampire Diaries be a TV program? Like Jicho Pevu. Sinafai we TV program. By now, Vampire Diaries should be Churchill show. Kweli uongo. But why? Why? Because they can't handle it. It's too much. It will throw the nation into fire. Because if people realize how they've been stolen from, they'll go nuts. They'll go crazy. Even the ones who have stolen will be like, niliiba lakini iyo ni mingi. Iyo ni mingi. Mimi ni ukweli. Nilipata 100 million. Lakini 100 billion? Buda hapana. That is why Ruto steals shocking amounts. Ruto is Uhuru Pro Max. A friend of the best, a co-criminal, a co-ICC criminal of the best, and he continues the moves of his master. That's why when he came to office, hakuguza mdosi wake. Kwa nini? Hizi deal tulipiga pamoja. Tuachane na hii story. The Kenyans are the food. Me and you don't have to fight. We may not agree, but you don't have to fight. Why? Because you and we are on the table eating, and these people are on the menu. If we fight, they will know there's something. So he comes on the table. Let's just begin from the ones he has stolen lately. Which healthcare software management system can cost 104 billion anywhere in the world? Which one? Ni software gani atima watu wa IT watakaa chini wa code ya kumanage health records na healthcare system ya Kenya yenye itakosta 104 billion? Hadi ile defense system ya kuguide supersonic missiles ya US defense ya vita does not cost 104 billion Kenya shillings. Even defense systems. Walinunua hii kitu ya wanatumia kutap simu zetu Pegasus. 2 billion. Now here is a program to create a software for 104 billion. Sasa hapo jua 100 billion ni wizi. And they are so shameless. Unajua kitambo they were shame. Kitambo, people used to register fake companies, then use the fake companies to steal so that their name is not on the paper. In this particular case, his economic advisor, his chief economic advisor, David Ndii, the wife has a company inapiga hiyo deal. Yani yeye mwenyewe, hakuna hata uoga. Shamelessly go to Karatu Stadium in Kiambu. Moses Kuria didn't even have the shame to use a different company in bidding for the tender. He used a company where he is a director. Him, Moses Kuria, is a director. He's given a tender to build Karatu Stadium. You go there ni vumbi. Na pesa ishalipwa. Watu washakula unono. You ask me why these things sound like news. They sound like news because for a long time they've been concealed. The reason Morara is a household name today is because I say the things that people don't want to say, and I say them in broad daylight, and they are factual, and the only way you can controvert a fact is with another fact. And if there is no alternative fact, you have nothing to say. You know, I've been watching from a distance with anger. And there are so many Kenyans like me who watch what is going around their country. They are so angry but they don't speak. And there are so many of them. Hata hapa kwa studio hapa, tufanya tu roll call, kuna Wakenya wengi sana. They are very disappointed about what goes on in their country. but they are either afraid to speak, or they see it as none of their business, or they say, well, probably this is how it should be. I'm here to assure them that this is not how it should be. Personally, I was born with, this hii attitude niko nayo, sijaipata juzi. Nimekuanga hivyo. Those who went to school with me in campus, they know me for it. Those who went to school with me in high school, they know me for it. Wale walienda na mi primo, wanajua na kuanga hivyo. So, close people, classmates, nini, wanajua. That is Morara in the flesh. He has not changed. He has always been like this. I've always stood against injustice. And I can even give you an example. When I was in the university, 15,000 students have not registered units online. And the university insists on closing the deadline for registration of units today. Now, students are full at the computer labs in Kenyatta University in main campus. Watu wamejaa hadi nje, wengine wamepanda hadi juu ya meza. The university staff that are serving these students, they are sweating. System hadi imehang. Why? Everybody is chasing this deadline. And the university is so hard-headed. Wamesema, if you don't register by today, call off. 15,000 students. They have not registered yet. Just because some of them are still looking for fees and other things. I went to the Deputy Vice Chancellor's office, Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic. I asked him, excuse me, sir, was the law made for man or man for the law? This deadline, was the deadline created for us or we are the one created for the deadline? What is a deadline? Move it. Yeah, move it. Let the systems ease up. Let everybody register. All these people, they want to go to school. Do you know how many children in Kenya don't want to go to school? Wanalazimishwa. Wamekubali. Hadi wanapigana ile wa register units. Allow them to study. If you are also given that opportunity, that's why you are a professor. Akakata. Lazima must be today. We have a timetable to run. Nimwambia ningoje hapo, acha nini kuja na 10,000 students. I left his office. Nikaenda huko. I stood on the table. Nikaambia students, excuse me guys, stop it right there. We are not registering any units today. The system has hanged. These people who are serving us have not even eaten lunch. They are sweating. They'll die here. Let's leave the computer lab and march to the administration block for an extension of the deadline. Unajua I did like a joke. Watu walichangamuka aje. You've seen the picture of Moses in history books akiwa na the Israelites wakiwa na cross the Red Sea. That was the picture. Epic. If we had a good photographer, alikuwa afaa apige picha hiyo siku. We marched like a sea of humanity to the new administration block. The university knew we are serious. It didn't take a minute. They said we are extending the deadline. We told them we are not leaving the administration. We know we had surrounded it. A sea of humanity has surrounded the administration block. Watu wamejaa paka huko kama siafu. We say we are not leaving until you make it official. Asema no, we'll do it. Trust us. No, say we've already lost the trust. Release the memo. Do you know they had to release the memo, put it online, na bado hatukuamini, tukamwambia tupe physical copy. Tukapewa physical copy hivi, tukatoka tukicelebrate nayo hivi. So sijaanza jana, na sijaanza juzi. This is Morara in the flesh. This is him. This is who he is, practically. It inspired because I realized that I don't have to be huge and I don't have to be rich. I just need to get into their hearts and speak to them in their hearts, in the language they understand, and speak to their pain, and they will respond. What I'm doing with the Vampire Diaries is I'm speaking to the pain of a Kenyan. They might look like they don't want to listen to it. Some might say, well, we are okay with our guy from our tribe at the top, but at some time, it will prick their conscience. And when it does, it will be bigger than Morara. Believe you me. I will be the one who started the fire, but I will not calm down the fire. I'll not say, okay guys, I didn't want you to get this serious. Please stop it right there. No. And it's not the first time I did something in the university. Some other day, there was an upgrading of a section called Nyayo Zone. for IAAF games. Alright, so there's a zone. That zone is called Nyayo. It has several hostels. There's Nyayo 1 and Nyayo 2 for ladies, and Nyayo 4 and Nyayo 5 and 6 for gents. That's how it was then. So these 5 blocks, they host more than 4,000 students. Now these students, they are being told to move out of their hostels. They want to upgrade those hostels to a 3-star status because there are wazungus coming from abroad for IAAF games in Kenya, and they will need a place to sleep, and KU has been earmarked as one of the centers where they'll sleep. So I asked the administration, we're in the middle of a semester. Most of these people come from a poor background. The amount we pay inside our school fees for accommodation is about 2,600 shillings. If you tell them to move out, you're telling them to move out to where? Waende wapi? Hii kitu ya serikali, hii arrogance ya kubomolea watu manyumba, ilikuwa hivyo. These were people being displaced, 4,000 of them, to just leave and go. Ati, okay, we'll give them 4,000 bob. Ask them, wewe tukipea 4,000 sai, utaishi wapi hapa around? Kuanzia Kawendani, Kaoskari, KM, Ruiru, Kiunguro, utaishi wapi na 4,000? Ebu tupige hesabu ya rent, ya deposit. Ulikuwa unapika na coil huko, sasa huna coil, unahitaji gas ama jiko, ebu tuongee, na utalala chini. So where do we begin? Mimi sikuwa na budget ya mattress, nafanyaje? Basi said, okay, we'll increase it to 7,000. Tumbana wacheni jokes. And you know, when I realized that they keep increasing, 4,000, 7,000, I realized iko pesa. Because you know, university is not generous. They are not like just going to give you money out of their pocket. If they are giving you money, it's because it's been budgeted for. So what I did is I went to the treasury, the national treasury ya Kenya. Nikamwambia kuna program iko KU iko hivi na hivi. I just want details of how much money was allocated. Me, you know, I expected ninyimwe hizo details. But the person I met there, I don't know whether he's an angel or ama yeye pia amechoka na corruption. Hadi aliniprintia. Aliniprintia hadi copy. Akaniambia ndio hii ndio pesa imeallocatiwa nini. Nilipopiga hesabu yangu, nikapata watu wangu wanafaa wapate karibu 50k kila mtu. Nilirudi huko nikiwa na sauti. Nilisema atuongei mambo. We are going to hold a meeting in the amphitheater. I have news. University wakasema the amphitheater is out of bounds. You must book a week in advance for you to use the amphitheater. Nasema no. The amphitheater belongs to students. We are the owners of the amphitheater and we want to use it. So can we use it, or would you like us to remove the door then replace it later after we finished our meeting? They decided they don't want violence. Wacha tuingie. Tukaingia kwa amphitheater yetu, tukaketi, watu wamejaa paka huko juu. Sasa administration wakasikia iko mkutano huko, they decided to hijack it, so they came and sat, the vice chancellor with all his administration. So the director student affairs, was called Edwin Gimode, took the mic. Then students, because of the anger, they started throwing things to the stage. And as a wise man, nikaona hii itachoma. Because at the end of the day, we need results. Okay? It's not enough to humiliate them. We need results. So nikasema, nikapanda kwa stage, nikachukua mic kutoka kwake. Nikaambiwa to please calm down, we like to pray. Unajua mkuomba mtu haisipiga kelele. So ikabidi wa calm down. Nikaomba maombi refu. By the time nilimaliza maombi, they had calmed down. By the time administration wameconsult pale, they came back with a figure. Do you know everybody ended up getting at least 21,000? All of them. Kila mtu aliwekewa kitu kwa account. Akahama. Na watu walikuwa huko, they can testify. Na hiyo ndio time ya university kuu imenunua student leaders wote. Wamewambia enda mu market hii kitu. Imewanunua, imewalipia flights to some hotel that KU owns in the North Coast called North Coast Beach Hotel. It's in Kikambala somewhere in North Coast. So sijaanza jana. This is Morara. It's okay, it's just that most people are getting to know him now. But if you meet a classmate or somebody went to school with or somebody goes to church with, they'll tell you that guy is like that. Complaining, we complain as Kenyans. We complain even about the weather. We complain about our drainage. We complain about our street lights. We complain about our insecurity. We complain about our sewer line which passes close to our wells where there is clean drinking water and the sewage is passing outside. We complain. We complain about our stalled projects. We complain about completed roads which are in poor condition. They were completed last month, they already have potholes. Kucomplain tunajua. Iyo, mtu asiseme anaweza tushinda iyo. Nobody should say that he can defeat Kenyans in complaining. Iyo anajidanganya. We are creme de la creme, we are par excellence. The question is, at what point do we transition from complaining to doing something about it? And here I am, Morara. Unajua si ati mimi ubambika kwenda Vampire Diaries. It is a burden I must carry. Like it's that thing I must do. Niko na TV, niko na internet, na nakuanga na Netflix. Niko na popcorns, na nakuanga na bibi. Na nakuanga na duvet, okay? Naweza jibamba. Ukweli. Lakini kuna kitu uniguza tu. Inaniambia, na utawacha tu hao watu endelee kutesa hawa Kenya hivi. Nasema, let me go and inject, Naweza kosa kubadilisha wa Kenya wote. Lakini mwenye nitambadilisha, I'll have done something. Me going through Vampire Diaries, I've gone through 95 projects now. Since I began. I've gone through 30 counties. Since I began, 30 counties out of 47. The 30 counties I've gone to and the 90 something projects that I've visited, each project traumatizes me. Because I get there and I see the life people are living and I compare it versus the project. Then I compare it versus the money that was spent. I feel anger. And I want to thank my family. More so my wife, my mother, my father, and my extended family for controlling me. And my friends, and those who work with me at Inject House, huwa wanani control sana. They control me in terms of what I say, and they control me in terms of what I say I will do to these people. Because sometimes you're so angry, you feel like you should hang them without fair trial. You feel like you should, kuwapeleka kotini is waste of time. Tuwashike tu tuwanyonge. Tumalize mambo ya watu. But now, having older people and wiser people in my circle and people who love me, they help calm down that animal in me. And tell me, look, you've seen the pain, but the action has to be wise. Because if you act unwisely, you can cause a bigger problem than the problem you're seeing. I'm a religious man. So I believe that I'm in class. I believe I'm in school. Mimi niko darasa. Na Mwenyezi Mungu ndio lecturer. And what he's doing is he is taking me through a tour. A tour. He has made me a tourist. The same way he took Moses, said, this guy I need him to lead Israelites. First, he must learn the Egyptian way of life. He must learn how palaces operate, and he must learn education, palace education. Then now, where is he leading people to? The desert. Take the man out of the palace, throw him into the desert. Let this man stay in the desert. Let him learn first how to find direction in the desert. Because west looks like east and north and south because everywhere is emptiness. So how do you find where you're going? How do you study the stars? What do you eat when you're in the desert? Ni nini nakulika, nini haikulikangi? How do you know where there is water? Ukona queue. How do you move towards water? So because this man will be taking my people through the wilderness, I'll teach this man the desert and the roots of the desert. Take a boy like David. Train him to be an army, to be a good soldier. Train him to be a man who fears the Lord. Then bring him and make him a king. Everything God does to a man is a training section. For me, God is taking me through a tour of leadership. Kwa sababu sasa nikifanywa rais kesho, na sijai kuwa cabinet secretary, na sijai kuwa PS, so watu watasema nina lack experience. People say, what are we giving this young boy the presidency to do? He doesn't even know where Lodwar is. He doesn't even know where Kwale is. Does he know the issues of the Kwale people? But oh yes, I know. I've now been to Kwale. I've toured their projects. I've gone to a wedding in Kwale. Hizi local weddings zile za kuko kwa village. I've danced with the women of Kwale. I've listened to their songs. I've loved the songs. I've understood their culture, what to do, what not to do, how to greet them. I've gone to Taita Taveta. I've understood the meaning of Mwashiindamana. It's a tour. I'm on a tour to be shown the country so that I understand it, so that when I'm given a duty, I will execute it with surgical precision. Na nimefika ile point yenye mimi I don't complain now.